Girl, you've got questions. Questions about your body and how to feel good in it, about your hormones and how to keep them in check. Questions about your sex life and your whole health. Can you imagine having a best girlfriend who was also a triple board certified OBGYN? A girlfriend doctor you could call and ask or tell her anything. Someone who could show you how to live any stage of life, before, during, or after menopause, in a big, bold, and beautiful way. Well, friends, I'm your girlfriend doctor. I believe you are meant to flourish and shine, to embrace life and awaken to all its possibilities. Let's get there together. Welcome to our show. Welcome back to the Girlfriend Doctor Show. Do you ever not trust your intuition? Do you ever want to trust it more? Do you sometimes ask and pray for the divine guidance and just feel at a loss? Or sometimes do something even though your intuition told you otherwise? Well, today on the Girlfriend Doctor Show, we are going to dig deep into really connecting with that trusted voice that is within us, that connection of our spirit, and being able to tap into our intuition and to trust our guides. I have to tell you that a few years back, I was at the National Cathedral in Washington, D.C. for Christmas Eve service. And the priest at the time was lecturing on talking to our angels. And one of the things that they said, if you're hearing voices, you're crazy, right? Like, you can't hear voices, you're crazy. There's a psychological diagnosis for that. But what is true is that we all really have the ability to hear and trust our intuition. And what does that feel like? Man, I remember someone speaking on this very topic about trusting or talking to their angels. And someone said, "What? You hear voices?" And his reply was, "What? You mean you don't?" So trusting that small, still voice within you, trusting your intuition, is really an important practice. And certainly both women and men can do it. Women seem to have a higher intuition in general. And that's something I want you guys, each and every one of you, to tap into, is to clear the clutter from your mind that doesn't speak to your total wellness, that doesn't speak to bringing you love, joy, and goodness, and for you to reach your full potential. We want to remove that negativity, those naysaying voices that can get in our way, right? First, let's go to our audience question. Diana from Toronto wrote in, and she wrote, "Dr. Anna, as a Christian, I'm supposed to trust God in all things, but I'm feeling fearful and like so much in my life is out of control. How do I get that inner peace?" Well, Diana, we're going to dig into that today with our experts who are amazing guides in really trusting our inner voice and our intuition so that we can gain that inner peace despite so many circumstances. And I know as part of my journey, I have faced that loss of inner peace, all the spirits of desolation and fear that have been in my life from trauma. When we've experienced trauma, that fear can be constantly resurfacing its really ugly head. And there are many practices that I put into place, but to really gain my insight, to have that inner peace, to feel gratitude, love, and joy, to connect with my highest spirit, to connect with God and trust that voice, trust that inner wisdom, it has been transformational. So you can get there too. And it's just one step, taking the next right step, one step at a time. We're going to move on to our guest right now. I'm going to hit the couch in just a second. We'll be right back. Well, what a blessing today. Our Girlfriend Doctor Show guest has over 40 years of experience as an intuitive guide and spiritual teacher. A few years ago, within 6 weeks, her brother died, her father died, and her marriage imploded. She was shattered by so much loss happening so fast and was guided to undertake a pilgrimage on the Camino de Santiago across Spain to help her heal. This turned into a transformative journey as she let go of the old stuff and walked back to the most profound level of wholeness she has ever experienced. Today, she will share her walk and how we can each connect to and trust our intuition. So join me in welcoming best-selling author of over 27 books, including Your 3 Best Superpowers, Meditation, Imagination, and Intuition, and her newest book, Ask Your Guides, which comes out January 5th. So a special welcome to Sonia Choquette and her daughter, who spontaneously is joining us today. Also, Sonia, welcome, ladies. It's great to have you here with us today.
Thank you. It's really a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Now, Sonia and Sonia, you have a family tradition of being intuitive, and I want you to talk about that and how it's been manifesting in your own home life and your own spiritual walk.
Well, I really have been raised that we have 6 senses, and that our 6 senses are spirit, that our spirit talks to us, our spirit guides us. It's a connection to the Holy Spirit. I was raised Catholic. I went to Catholic school, and I was raised by my mother, who was very intuitive, and she was deaf and said that that was a blessing because it caused her to listen to her heart and to vibration and to inner guidance. And I raised my daughters the same way. We've always lived with a very strong connection to God, to angels, to guides, to spirit. And the way they talk to us is through the heart, through our vibration that we feel in our heart, in our bodies. And we listen to that and follow it, like as much as I'm listening to you.
Yes. Yeah. And then how do you touch into that? How do you tap into that? How do you guide us? Well, I know you're going to teach us on that in just a minute, but I want to hear from your daughter, Sonia, too. How did you develop this intuition?
Yeah, well, the thing is intuition is innate. And the way that my mom always talked about it is it's just a deep listening. And instead of listening to words, we listen to vibration. And it's the way that we're innately built. So really, in terms of developing your intuition, I was taught that everyone's intuitive. It's just slowing down enough to start to listen within. And in our world, we don't everything's on fast forward. But if you just start to create a little bit of space, you'll start to feel your vibes. So I feel like it was normal for us. I didn't know it wasn't a part of everybody's conversation until I was probably in first grade.
Oh my gosh, I am with you on that. I grew up too in a very matriarchal family, very intuitive. My mom, I didn't know any different. My mom would say, "Oh, your Uncle Malik's going to call right now," and lo and behold, the phone would ring. Or, I was talking when my mom's brother passed away, she knew before we got the phone call. She knew, and in so many ways, she had that intuition beyond it was always funny when someone was calling and she would know who was on the phone before she ever answered it. And those were things that I just took for granted. Doesn't everyone do that? Mm-hmm. And I think that also that intuition, listening to that guidance, helped me be the physician that I've become, because I trusted that inner voice. When I would order something or question a client, and without really any good reason to, for instance, and there always a result that needed to be discovered from that questioning. But there's a point in my life where I stopped trusting my intuition. So that is one of the reasons. And I know for many people, especially when we've had tragedy, trauma, where we feel, as in my life, when we lost our sweet son, that God just abandoned us, and I couldn't trust my intuition anymore. And so, Sonia, you recently went on a journey where you lost, close family members. And I would like you to talk about what you discovered on the Camino de Santiago, which is on my bucket list, by the way.
Well, as you mentioned, it was just the way my life unfolded in a very short period of time. My brother passed away in his sleep, and the trauma was so intense. My father died 6 weeks later, and neither of them were sick before, so there was no preparation. There was no expectation. And then the stress and having such dramatic loss was the camel that broke the straw that broke the camel's back in my marriage, which was very difficult. And So that ended after a 30-year marriage, and I was just shattered. I was confused, and I was lost, and I didn't know what to do. And I got this guidance to walk the Camino de Santiago, and I didn't really even know what it was, let alone that I was a city girl. I wasn't a hiker by any stretch of imagination, but because I had lived a guided life of intuitive guidance, I said yes, because that's what I do. And so bought my boots, went to REI, got my stuff, headed out like so naive, and started this 830-kilometer walk across 2 mountain ranges across Spain. That is the pilgrimage of, it's thousands of years old, and it's the path of forgiveness. Very religious, very spiritual, very transformational experience. And in the course of what took 36 days, I had really revisited my entire life, but from a very different point of view, and came to a place of understanding, compassion, feeling things I didn't even feel, and then being able to forgive, release, let go, and move on. And it was a combination of the walking, the daily prayers, the sacred path, the angels and guides that were visiting me along the way. It was almost like stepping out of this world and into an alternate universe. And it was such an extraordinary experience. I wrote about it because I was really writing to myself as I went, kind of recording what I was doing. And I would say that it was incredible. It was a miracle that I even made it, to tell you the truth. No hiking experience or prep, but I came back on the other side with lost pieces of me recovered, and an ability to come to peace with all that loss, knowing that the spirit lives on in an absolutely undeniable way.
You know, that statement, the spirit lives on, I would say love never dies, right? And that strength of that. How do we get back in touch with our intuition and to trust our guides?
Well, as Sonia said, I feel like we need to take it out of the strange box and move it back into, this is normal, this is part of my divine makeup. God speaks to us in our hearts. I mean, every religious tradition on the planet talks about angels, and the Catholic tradition, and we talk about our beloved departed family members and the saints, and the whole world of spirit is real, and we are spirit. So if we can begin to reorient our understanding of who we are and see ourselves as spirit, spirit talks to spirit, it makes more sense. What do you think?
I would say one of the things that my mom also taught my sister and I is that it's like any relationship. And the more that we show up and water that relationship, even just by starting with curiosity, the more that our relationship with our intuition, and the more that it grows, and the more that we can trust those subtle impulses that show up. Because as my mom has always taught me, intuition is not verbose. It doesn't talk a lot, and it doesn't come from here, it comes from here.
In fact, there's a tool you can use that works right away when you want to get in touch with your guidance. You can pose a question like, I don't know what to do, or I need guidance on this. And you can start by saying out loud, my head says, and just let your head talk because it wants to. And then you take a breath and put your hand on your heart, and you say, my heart says, out loud, and let your heart speak. And it will say something quite a bit different, and it will feel different. And your body will relax. If it's true intuition, everything in you kind of opens up and relaxes. So that's a very simple, quick tool.
And that trusting your physiologic response to that, your physical response. And I think that's really important. Okay, that sense of release, that acceptance, that, opening of yourself to say, okay, this is the truth. And I always tell clients, resonate, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Listen, trust that.
Absolutely.
Feeling.
It's physical. You can tell physically if it's harmonious with your spirit and it's truthful, your body energy expands. And if it's your head, If it's your intellect or your ego, the energy contracts. It takes your breath away. It feels dissonant. So as a doctor, I really think that's so great. People can hear that from a doctor's affirmation point of view.
Yeah, absolutely. And it has humbled me in so many ways too. Absolutely. I think that, being able to now, even in my practice, in my career, in my family, it's trusting that small voice, that, that intuition, trusting my prayer life and my meditation and the truth that comes from that, and to walk in that faith versus fear. Our audience question today was about, how am I supposed to trust God in all things, but I keep feeling fearful and like so much is out of control. How do I get that inner peace, was her question. And what would you say to her?
Well, I would say I have a tool called Empty the Garbage. And
I already like that tool. That sounds good.
And actually, I can actually work it with my daughter.
Okay.
So the way that your fear is, I will ask her, what you first do is you just say, I'm afraid of, I'm afraid of, I'm afraid of. So what are you afraid of?
Let's see. I'm afraid that I'm disorganized.
And what else are you afraid of?
I'm afraid that I'm late.
And what else are you afraid of?
And I'm afraid that I'm not going to get the right answer.
Oh, girl, I've got all those things too.
I'm afraid of judgment.
And one more.
And I'm afraid that I'm afraid that I'm going to be stuck.
Take a breath and look around the room. Blow out and breathe in. Place your hand on your heart. And now, and my spirit says
that I can trust.
And my spirit says?
My spirit says that I'm okay.
And my spirit says?
And my spirit says go for a walk.
And does it feel true?
Yeah, it does.
That's how you do it. You actually verbalize it out loud. Let your fear speak. That's empty the garbage. And ask your spirit, what do you say? And again, go for a walk. Everything's okay. You will feel it. So you don't have to believe it. You'll feel it in your body. And that's how fear is normal, but it's not. Fear is a normal anxiety, but just because you feel fear doesn't mean you're in danger.
I think that's an incredible check-in that every one of us, should probably be doing on a daily practice, especially or when we feel that sensation of fear, the fear of uncertainty, the fear of, travel, the fear of career, the fear of finances, and then I like that, empty the garbage, and then trust what spirit telling you, and getting into what is true at this moment right now for you, and then you can relax in that moment. And so there's an incredible health benefit to that, right? We're reducing cortisol, increasing oxytocin, and that feeling of inner peace comes in, and we can let go of the things that are driving us to really, make some bad decisions. So
I've studied with my students. It's not fear that's the problem. It's hiding fear. And when we empty the garbage, we're not hiding it anymore. We're not trying to manage and pretend it's not there. We just let it be. We move it on. And then our spirit can come forward, and we can feel that love and guidance and availability on the other side. But it's very hard if there's this big ball of fear that we're trying to pretend isn't there, or we're trying to control. Just name it and move it on.
Yeah, I think my mom, one thing that she also always taught me is that the throat is the chimney of our intuition. And oftentimes when we're in that overthinking and fear, that's when we get cut off. So when we even just start to empty the garbage and speak things out loud, it moves the energy.
Oh my gosh, that is so true. That is so true. And then we can speak truth, right? Speak truth, let the truth come out. And that's so healing. And when you're able to relieve those negative thoughts and perceptions. So, Sonia, another question about your journey. When you went through this amazing 36-day, oh my gosh, hiking experience, Camino, I have like one day hiking and I'm done, but I'm going to do it. I am. Right now, I've said to my entire audience, right, my girlfriend doctor community, I'm going to do the Camino de Santiago, and I cannot wait. But with that, when you came back, right, and you had this release, like this letting go, this forgiveness that you talk about, forgiveness of yourself and forgiveness of others, and just kind of this reconnecting to your authentic self. Now you come back into everyday life, and how do you maintain that? Like, what do you put in place? Mm-hmm.
I found that what it brought out in me is that I had to get very honest with myself about what was working and what wasn't in alignment with my spirit and who I was today. So I had to let go of things that I was holding on to. It was time for my marriage to end. We had had a good journey. We created what we could, but now we needed to go separate ways. I needed to let go of material things. I needed to let go of an old identity. And so I really began a very deeper than ever, even before, spiritual practice of prayer and meditation. And with the help of I have two daughters, with the help of both daughters, encouraged me to just start over, let go of everything and start over. And I was guided to do that. So I let it all go, packed up, and moved to Paris. And it was radical. It wasn't planned, but it worked out. I mean, it was just, instead of trying to piece my old life together, I was just guided to start a brand new one in a brand new place and have total faith that it would work out.
Oh my gosh. And there's so much courage around that. I applaud you. There's a lot of courage. And it sounds like you have amazing daughters that have given you so much love and that safe space to really blossom in this. I talk about the second spring of our lives, right? We want to breeze through menopause into our second spring. And so the second spring. So with that, I want to ask you another question about, like, before menopause and after menopause, has there been a shift in your spiritual intuition?
Actually, it was right at menopause when all this happened. So I thought that was kind of a divine synchronicity. But my intuition it was always very strong. It's always been my primary sense in that, but it got stronger and clearer. And it got to the point where I had no alternative but to follow it. I can't be in my own body if I'm not listening to my intuition, even in the slightest way. I don't feel the need to explain, package it for other people so they get it. I tell them it's okay that you don't get it, and I don't need you to get it. It works for me, and I have to go with what works for me. And I'm just super clear about that. And everybody seems to be okay with it. There's no room for me to shop around at a general consensus.
Mm-hmm. No, I love that. And another question I have is, like, we talk about the discerning of the spirits, and when we're talking about, listening, trusting our intuition, trusting our guides, right? This is a long time certainly in the Catholic religion and in many religions around the world, but there's the good spirits and the not so good spirits, right?
Right.
And how do you discern that? Like, when you are listening and connecting and in prayer and meditation?
Well, I even address this in my book, Ask Your Guides. The good spirit is a spirit of love, connection, and support for the good of all concerned. The not so good spirit would be any guidance you get that makes you special, different, or gives you any sort of flattery, encourages you to do anything that would harm anyone else, or position you to perceive yourself as better than anyone else. Just generally, the truth is, and we all share the one Holy Spirit. So if we're on the high frequency, any real guidance that's coming from a divine place is can be very supportive and will be very respectful for all concerned. So I think that's a pretty good litmus test. Doesn't mean everybody will like it, but it certainly is not damaging or posturing to in any degree that would make you separate or special or different.
Or fearful.
Or fearful too.
Right. We say, it's the work of evil to feel isolated, to get us to a position where we feel we're isolated and alone. Right. And then that is not true. That is.
Right. So you just need to say get out into the light.
Do you say, so you say that? How do you get rid of that? Yeah.
Out into the light. I have no room for. I really am very dramatic about it. I say no, out.
I would also say my mom always has also taught us to use humor. Mm-hmm. Because it's like when we're in that space of feeling super isolated and in our heads and disconnected, that's when we're really hard on ourselves. So my mom is always, it's like almost like playing like one is the loneliest number and having a dance party or something to help change the frequency and feel reconnected, because that's our joy in the way that we're naturally designed.
Oh my God, that is so funny that now that song is playing in the back of my head. So, oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. So we're going to work on emptying the garbage, right? Connecting with spirit, focusing on what is like the fruits of the spirit, right? The things that are good, joyful, loving, kind, all that goodness that we can bring into our life through connecting with our intuition. What are some other benefits of connecting into our intuition?
Well, I'd first say one more little tool is speak about your intuition out loud with kindred spirits, with your beloved family members or your good friends, so that you're not by yourself in that way. And the benefits are that your life gets very magical. You begin to have more and more experiences of being in the right place at the right time. Doors open instead of slamming your face. You end up being the beneficiary of beautiful gifts, because God is very generous and wants your life to be beautiful. So by listening to your intuition and asking for divine help and not entertaining negativity, you get a lot of blessings. And then count them, name them, talk about them, celebrate them, instead of letting your mind be stuck on negative conversation.
Yeah, I think the biggest gift that I've now as an adult recognized of having my intuition at the helm is that I trust myself. And that when you trust your intuition, you trust yourself first instead of looking to other people to validate you.
Oh my gosh. And that is a lifelong process, honestly. I know it has been for me. It's like, okay, and what is the reason I'm doing this? Is this for me? Is this part of my purpose? Is this, is this an act of being selfish, or is it, where is this full of generosity? Like, where is that? And that I find myself sometimes in places where like, okay, what's the real reason that I want to do this?
So I do think that the thing that I have found in teaching intuition and living it in our lives is the more you speak it out loud instead of try to figure it out in your head, you can actually hear and feel and sense in the voice whether this is really I'm aligned with my spirit and I'm in the flow of grace, or if I'm falling out of integrity with myself, or I'm being pulled off my path. You can actually hear and sense and feel it in the sound of your own voice. So I think it should be, and when you name it, you claim it. So the more you express your intuition with your family and friends and listen to yourself, the more you stay on track.
Mm-hmm. No, I love that. Thank you. And I would love to talk with you guys all day. And it's beautiful surprise to have a mother-daughter duo on with me today. So Sonia, I want to thank you for jumping in and joining us. And I know you've got a book too. And so share your book with our audience.
Yeah, I wrote a book with my sister called You Are Amazing, a help yourself guide to trusting your vibes and reclaiming your magic. And it's a fun, great book to really, really teach intuition, I think, to a whole new generation. But I think it's for all ages. I love it. It's fun.
It's very fun and funny. And I recommend it highly. It's delightful.
I can't wait to read it, and that's a great gift to give my girls. I have 4 daughters, so I can't wait to share it with them. They will love it. And Sonia, you have a new book coming out. Tell us about that and
I'm
where
really
people can
excited about
connect
it.
with you.
In fact, I just got my first copy hot off the press. You want to see what it looks like?
Yeah, absolutely.
I just got it today. It's called Ask Your Guide.
Yay, congratulations.
It's calling your divine support system for help with everything in your life. And it's a second version. I wrote it in 2006, so this is an updated version because life has changed a lot. And it answers all the questions that you asked and more about how to really connect with your guides and know they're good guides and know that you're on inflow. And both of our books you can find on Amazon. They're available everywhere. And so I'm very excited about this new version of Ask Your Guides.
I'm excited too. We will be putting the links in our show notes. So everyone at dranna.com, click on my show page and you will see the links and where to go see Sonia and get their books and to really start opening another chapter. One more question is, Sonia, one thing that I do, especially when I have a difficult situation or decision to make, I fast. I always do 3 days, typically at least 3 days of fasting to really get that clear, to raise my vibration. I always tell my clients, you got to get keto green because you get into ketosis with fasting, but you've got the alkalinizing benefit that grounds you. And for me, that just puts me in a higher spiritual vibration. And I feel like so many more blessings come to me that way and clarity. Do you have that experience?
That is a fabulous and beautiful suggestion. And I'd like to add to that you can also fast from information while you're in that fasting experience, like unplug from the news and unplug from asking other people what they think. And fast from being having mental constipation as well, and just clear that as well. And I think that the combo is big winner.
I think that is brilliant. Yes, we do not want mental constipation. That just sounds terrible.
Doesn't it? And I think a lot of people do have it. So let's green and sing. That's the way you get out of mental constipation. So you fast and sing at the same time because it connects you to your heart.
Mm-hmm. And then again, that throat, the high vibration of using our voice. Well, I want to thank you both for being with us today, Sonia and Sonia. You guys, Sonia Choquette and her daughter, Sonia, check out their books on Amazon. I want to thank my audience. Don't go anywhere. I will be right back. The Girlfriend Doctor Club is here. We've been building our community for years on Facebook and Instagram through the Girl Talk questions that you send in that I answer on my website and in the newsletters and messages that I send out to you every week over email, talking about what matters most to all women everywhere. Now we're taking this to the next level. And yes, creating the Girlfriend Doctor Club. I am super excited about this. It is the perfect way to jump into 2021, linking arms with each other for inspiration, support, encouragement, and so much fun. So join the Girlfriend Doctor Club for just $1 in January. And believe me, you don't want to miss our inaugural month. We are dedicating January to making all our health and wellness dreams come true. Here's a little bit of what we're planning. We're going to start with my signature Keto Green Challenge to get you back on track with your fitness and health goals. We all need this after 2020, right? We're going to alkalinize you, girlfriend, and we're going to eat the best, healthiest, and delicious foods you can imagine while boosting your immunity and helping you lose weight. We can do it together. We'll also have weekly all-star guest appearances from my best girlfriends who are world-renowned fitness experts and health gurus. We'll also have weekly online meetings in the Girlfriend Doctor Clubhouse to talk about the questions we all want answers to and to really empower each other to elevate our lives. We'll have menus, motivation, and so much more. So join for $1 in January and then get the rest of the year at over 50% off the regular membership prices. This means you'll have access to the exclusive club for under $50 a month. This club is my way of giving back to you, girlfriend, because you have given me so much love and support over the years. I wanted to create a place where we can say what we want and then go after it together. There's so much healing in community. All year long, you'll get special savings on my products and programs. I'll be designing fitness, health, and motivational challenges for you. And there are a few surprises I'm cooking up too. Please join us. I can't wait to see you in the club. This one click will change your life. Wow, girlfriends, weren't the Choquettes amazing? I love seeing a mother-daughter duo, and this is our legacy that we're leaving, right? When we can speak into our children, teach them what we know, and communicate with them. Also be that safe network, an authentic network that we can continue to grow, evolve, share, and as part of my pillars, flourish. Awaken to that inner voice that we can trust, that intuition that we can believe in, that will guide us in the right direction for our next right step, whatever that may be. So for key takeaways of this show, go to dranna.com, click on the show page, and you'll see the website links and some helpful additional information and show notes. And I also want to encourage you to subscribe wherever you watch this show. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube at my channel, and Podcast Addict, iTunes, iHeartRadio, wherever you are listening to the Girlfriend Doctor Show, and share it. Share this episode. Share it with your family. Share it with your friends. And don't forget, there's no such thing as TMI. You can ask or tell me anything, and you can write me right from my show page at my website. Thank you for being here with me, and I look forward to next time. Mwah.